万亩良田呢，这回变成汪洋大海了，全是水呀。
It's ruined. This is truly ruined. Can you see it? It's all in white. The lands on the floodplain are all submerged. In just 3 hours, all crops are submerged. Now the rice has started to panicle and should be kept away from water. When it meets water, it's ruined. A year's hope, all our investments are there. There are only 2 months left until harvest. Now it's all gone. Everything's lost. Look at these people. They are all worried about how high the flood might rise.
Take a look. These are our rice crops, all ruined. Look at this. Oh my God. Green represents hope. Golden symbolizes the joy of harvest. What does this gray stand for?
It's August now. Farmers have been working hard for half a year, pouring in all their money. They were looking forward to the returns from the harvest. But this massive flood took it all away. At least 2 generations' efforts have gone. Office workers, even if flooded, can continue to work and earn their salary the next month. But farmers have to wait till next year, and they might not even have the money for seeds and fertilizers. We don't even have money left to buy appliances for our homes anymore. Houses that were well built might still be salvageable. But those with poor construction quality have been completely destroyed by the floods, leaving people homeless. It's not just one individual or one family. Many might not be able to afford school fees for their children next year. Normally, if a family faces difficulties, they can borrow from relatives and friends. But this time, almost everyone is affected.
Typhoon Doksuri introduced floods that ravaged areas like Beijing, Hebei, and Tianjin. Then its circulation continued northward to reach the northeast region of China. Influenced by the typhoon, several days of heavy rain hit the provinces of Heilongjiang, Liaoning, and Jilin, often referred to as China's granary. The rivers and reservoirs in these areas saw dramatic rises in water levels, leading to dam breaches. Many at-risk reservoirs, due to years of neglect, not only failed to serve their flood control purpose, but also had to release a massive amount of floods to ensure their own safety. This exacerbated the flooding. The raging floods destroyed villages, factories, and other infrastructure, and submerged vast tracts of fertile lands. Even as the effects of Typhoon Doksuri were yet to subside, on August 12th, news from the mainland meteorological station reported that the 6th typhoon, Kanun, made landfall near Zhuanghe City, Liaoning Province, around 11 p.m. on August 11th. Although Kanun has significantly weakened, its remnants are expected to combine with westerly trough in the coming days, bringing continuous rainfall to the northeast region for the next week. Forecasts suggest that heavy rainfall will peak between the night of the 12th and the 13th. That means the rainfall will pour more water in the rivers that have been experiencing high water levels from previous floods, indicating many areas will endure 2 consecutive heavy rainfalls, worsening the disaster. Meteorological experts have stated that since the Songhua River and high river basins already have elevated water levels, and some areas' reservoirs have exceeded alert levels, a new round of heavy rain might lead to rising water levels and even potential flooding in certain regions. The Meteorological Department of Liaoning Province predicts that due to incoming waters from the upstream Yalu River, the province might experience flood peaks or floods surpassing alert levels, posing high risks, especially to the city of Dandong. The Natural Resources Department of Jilin Province estimates that the heavy rainfall brought by Kanun elevates the risk of geohazards like landslides, mudslides, and mudflows in the eastern mountainous regions of the province. The National Highway 331 in the area, known for its susceptibility to geological disasters, has already been subjected to traffic restrictions. According to the Heilongjiang Hydrological and Water Resources Center, the Harbin section of the Songhua River is expected to experience a flood peak on August 13th, with water levels fluctuating around 118 meters and a flow rate of 8,100 cubic meters per second. Harbin will be primarily affected by this. Before the arrival of Kanun, residents in some parts of the northeast had already organized evacuations. Many of these displaced individuals had just returned from temporary shelters, only to be uprooted once more. Since August 11th, some villagers from Shangzhi City in Harbin have relocated to higher grounds, enduring great inconveniences. On August 9th, a distressing video circulated widely online. The footage shows several middle-aged and elderly men setting up tents on a mountain amidst trees. Nearby, women are busy preparing meals on makeshift stoves. There are also elderly women and children taking shelter under temporary structures. Disturbingly, an older man lies immobile on the ground, presumably due to injuries.
Look, these are the few survivors left from Twin Village. They've fled to the mountains now. Some can't even move. Over 10 people are missing. They're all homeless now. Everything's gone. Houses have collapsed. All the crops and cultivated wood ear mushrooms are lost. Only these few, the elderly and weak, remain. The rest have been swept away and are unaccounted for. We hope anyone who sees this can come to help.
The three provinces of the northeast, Heilongjiang, Jilin, and Liaoning, are pivotal grain producers in China, historically termed as the northern granary. Data from 2022 indicates that these three provinces produced a combined total of 143.28 million tons of grain, accounting for 20.9% of the national output. Heilongjiang alone produced 77.63 million tons, which is 11.3% of the country's total. The devastation inflicted upon agriculture in these areas will undeniably have significant repercussions on China's overall food production. Coupled with the previous damage from typhoons in major grain-producing provinces like Hebei, Shandong, Henan, Jiangxi, and Hunan, concerns over food security for China's vast population are intensifying. Among the three northeastern provinces, Heilongjiang suffered the most severe flood disasters. Authorities in Heilongjiang province have previously said that the water levels of 25 rivers across the province have exceeded the warning levels and may burst their banks at any time, flooding surrounding farmland and villages, as well as factories and other living facilities. According to the official media People's Daily, over 162,000 people were evacuated in Harbin, the provincial capital. Additionally, the floods have already destroyed 90,000 hectares of crops. Now, with Kanun approaching, the region might be facing even greater losses. The northeast's main crops include corn, rice, soybeans, spring wheat, and sorghum. Corn is the most widely planted, followed by rice. The unique geography of the area extends the growth period for rice. This, combined with the fertile black soil, gives birth to rice that is favored by consumers due to its taste and nutritional richness. August is a critical period for rice in the northeast as it enters the flowering and pollination stage, requiring drier conditions. The unexpected floods have nearly wiped out the rice crops, plunging local farmers into despair. As reported by Xinhua News Agency, Shangzhi City witnessed a once-in-6 decades downpour, ruining more than 42,000 hectares of crops. One woman in Shangzhi City stands on the Liangzhu River embankment, with her family's rice fields just beyond the embankment. The video shows a portion of her rice field submerged, with pathways inundated and water levels continuing to rise. With water everywhere and nowhere to drain, it's feared her entire field might soon be underwater.
In just one night, the river overflowed its banks. It's now almost at the height of the levees. If the water continues to rise, surpassing the levees or causing them to collapse, the rice paddies will likely be flooded. As it's currently the flowering stage for the rice, flooding would basically mean a total crop failure.
Wuchang City in Heilongjiang province, known for its premium-grade rice, has seen many of its villages and vast expanses of fertile land turned into watery marshlands. Local villager Zhao Zhizhong from Longfengshan village said that there were 20 days of on and off rain in July, yet the reservoir rarely released water. But on the night of August 3rd, the reservoir suddenly opened its floodgates to discharge for 3 days, destroying many downstream homes and fields. The crops Zhao had devoted himself to were certainly ruined. The soaked rice plants, with many of their grains turning black, are bound to yield less. After the release of water from the two reservoirs, the water level of the Liaoning River rose by over 5 meters, flooding the fields alongside it. The northeast plain had no barriers, allowing floodwaters to rush in and submerge low-lying fields. Mr. Zhu, a 74-year-old from Zhujia village, mentioned that they only found out about the upstream reservoir's emergency discharge at around 3 a.m. on August 4th. Coupled with heavy rainfall causing waterlogging, the river water directly flowed back into the village. His 20-plus acres of rice were all submerged in the floodwaters. He lamented that a year's hard work was all in vain. Like farmers in Beijing, Hebei, in an effort to prevent the CCP authorities from digging the levees and flooding their fields, local farmers had to take turns guarding the levees, repeatedly fending off the government's actions. The impacts of the flood continue. Some regions in the northeast have now also faced a locust outbreak. On August 8th, a video captured by a local villager went viral on Twitter, showing a thick layer of locusts on the ground just after the floodwaters had receded.
Look at the floodwater. Water is now the least of our worries. Now these creatures have become a plague. Look at this, these locusts. My goodness, such a layer. I thought those were leaves on the stalk, but upon closer inspection, they're all locusts. These locusts have entirely covered the tree branches. It's so much, probably weighing thousands of pounds.
CNN reported that as extreme weather poses an increasing threat to China's agriculture and food supply, severe flooding in the northeast has resulted in crop failures, potentially jeopardizing the food security of China's 1.4 billion population. In early August, the Chinese Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs warned that the recent continuous onslaught of typhoons Typhoon and Doksuri and the consequent torrential rains might have a serious impact on China's agricultural production. Before the severe flooding in northeast China due to the Doksuri typhoon, another major grain-producing province, Henan, experienced heavy rains in late May, severely damaging the widespread wheat crops. According to local Chinese media reports, the relentless rains coincided with the wheat harvest season, leading to the largest crop losses in a decade. Henan accounts for about a third of China's total wheat production. Data from China's National Bureau of Statistics shows that the heavy rains during Henan's wheat harvest season resulted in a 0.9% decline in China's summer grain yield this year, the first time in 7 years that China has seen a decrease in summer grain production. Additionally, an official from the China Meteorological Administration stated in a press conference last month that the unprecedented high temperatures and droughts in northern China in June have caused significant damage to newly planted crops such as corn and soybeans. CNN reported that in the summer of 2022, China experienced its most severe heat waves and droughts in decades, resulting in widespread power shortages and disruptions to the food and industrial supply chains. Over the past few months, the repeated blows to Chinese agriculture will have a short-term impact on China's food prices. Furthermore, last year, the Yangtze River Basin experienced the most severe meteorological drought since meteorological records began in 1961. This significantly impacted agricultural production in the basin, especially the water-intensive rice crop. The water levels in the rivers, lakes, and reservoirs of Hunan and Jiangxi, the largest rice-producing provinces in the basin, have not been satisfactory this year. With insufficient rainfall during the Doksuri storm and the likelihood of floods followed by drought in the middle reaches of the Yangtze River, we cannot underestimate the potential for reduced rice yields in these two provinces. The General Secretary of the CCP, Xi Jinping, has repeatedly emphasized the issue of food security in recent years. On July 20th of this year, he chaired a meeting of the Central Finance and Economics Committee. The meeting, undeterred by the multitude of economic woes, specifically discussed strengthening the protection of arable land, enhancing the quality of cultivated land, and steadily expanding agricultural production space. The meeting also approved the guidelines on promoting comprehensive utilization of saline alkali land. In March, an article by Xi Jinping published in the magazine Qiushi stated, "If there's an issue with our agriculture, our bowl of rice will be held in someone else's hands, and we will rely on others for food. How can we achieve modernization under such circumstances? Clearly, the issue of food has become a significant concern for the Beijing authorities. In fact, since 2004, China's agricultural trade has shifted from being a net exporter to a net importer. By 2014, China officially became the world's largest food importer. And since 2015, China has been importing more than 100 million tons of grain annually. These imports have accounted for over 20% of China's total grain output and about 15% of its total grain consumption. Wang Hongguang, the director of China Food and Food Security Research Center at China Agricultural University, believes that China's grain self-sufficiency rate is 86%, while the implicit food self-sufficiency rate is only 70%. Du Ying is the former deputy director of the National Development and Reform Commission. His team used different methodologies, calculated China's changing food self-sufficiency rates. Their findings roughly align with Wang's statements. Over the past 20 years, China's food self-sufficiency rate has dropped from around 100% to about 76% currently, decreasing by more than 1% annually. They predict that by 2035, the overall food self-sufficiency rate might drop further to around 65%. The article suggests that the food demand in developed countries stabilizes only when the annual per capita consumption reaches 800 kilograms. If this standard were to be applied to China, its grain shortfall will be immense. Some scholars assess that China's current food security is in a state of high difficulty, low level, weak safety, sufficient for basic consumption, reliant on imports for quality, stable in peace times but risky in times of war.